Hey y'all, welcome back to Maya Makes. I'm Maya and today I'm going to be making Mosaic Sushi. I found this idea on Tasty and it's just this really pretty sushi that's rolled in a square. And it has tamagoyaki in the middle, which is a sweet Japanese egg cake. And then it has salmon, cucumber, and rice. And I'm gonna add an extra layer of pink rice in there because pink. So I'm slightly worried about this because I'm not super great or experienced at sushi rolling. We'll see. This is like an artistic and culinary endeavor. We'll see how skilled I am and if this is gonna work, because I've never done square sushi before and I've also never made a roll with this many things in it. It's so many things. There's pretty much a whole cucumber in there. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. To anyone that's new to my channel, welcome. I do cooking and art videos, and I also paint my own merch, which you can check out in the link in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more delicious recipes and hand-drawn art. And more Maya, of course. So I started by cooking the rice, which I accidentally deleted some of the footage. Boo! But just wash and cook your rice, your sushi rice. I then split it into half before seasoning, half with regular seasoned rice vinegar and then half with some beet infused seasoned rice vinegar. If you don't have seasoned rice vinegar, you're just going to want to use rice vinegar with some salt and sugar to taste. And if you don't have beets to infuse the pink into your vinegar, you can just go ahead and use food coloring, or you can just skip the pink. Not necessary. And then after that, I went ahead and made the tamagoyaki so that that'll be ready for when we're rolling our roll. Tamagoyaki is a sweet egg cake. To make this, I mixed half a teaspoon of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, and 1 egg. Make sure you mix it all up so it's pretty emulsified so you don't get like chunks of yolk in there. It is a layered Japanese egg cake. I really love it, and I'm not sure if this is really the traditional way to make it, but it's how I do it. And it's pretty simple. So we're just going to heat the pan over medium heat. Make sure it's thoroughly heated so that when you do drop the egg onto the pan, it starts to cook right away. You're going to use a small pan, lightly cover it with a little bit of oil. I use canola oil and a paper towel to make sure there's not too much on there. And they actually make special square pans for this, for tamagoyaki pans, so that they come out perfectly shaped when you roll them. But I'm cheap, so I just use a regular square pan, and it works out fine. So as you can see, I put a really thin layer of egg down, and then really carefully you want to take something that's not going to scratch your pan and roll up the layer. I'm not super good at this, but it's pretty simple. You just want to make sure it's not too loose, and you just roll it up. You have to swirl the egg around before it cooks too much so that it does form a thin crepe-like layer. If your egg is taking time to cook and it's getting kind of like clumpy, you'll just want to turn the heat up a little bit. If it's cooking so fast that you can't make the crepe layer before it's solid, then you'll want to turn down the heat a little bit. It takes a little while to get the heat exactly right on this, but once you do, it's very simple. And then you're just going to keep adding layers of egg. Make sure you get underneath the roll that you already have. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long to cook. At the most, like 20 seconds. It's pretty easily burned, so you'll want to keep an eye on it. And then you just roll it back. So you continue to do this back and forth until you run out of egg. And so this kind of creates like really thin layers of egg. It's kind of like a crepe cake, if you have seen those. I've never made one of those, but it's kind of what it reminds me of, but it's egg and it's not a cake. So it's not really the same, but you know. This technique did take quite a little bit of getting used to, but it's a pretty simple concept. So if you play around with it, with like the heat and how you swirl the pan, you will get the hang of it, and it's pretty fun to do. I still mess up sometimes, but honestly, it always ends up tasting good anyways, so it's like, does it really matter if it's not perfectly shaped? No. Still tastes good, still a success. So I actually ended up making 2 for this roll. Sometimes I will make some with like a bunch of eggs, so I'll like double or triple the recipe, and then I'll make them into one big roll, so then you have a really thick, juicy tamagoyaki. So after you're done with that, you're going to prep the cucumber. You're going to cut your cucumber to the length that the nori is, and then you'll cut it into 4ths so that each of the middle angles is a right angle, so that they can be the edge of the square of the sushi. I actually, after doing this, I would recommend cutting out the seeds and then cutting it into 4ths or into right angles. You won't be able to cut it into 4ths after you cut out the seeds, but cut it into right angles after you cut out those seeds, because they made the seaweed way too watery. You'll see later. It kind of broke down, but yes, just make them right angles and try to avoid putting in as many seeds as you can. And then I also lost some footage here, but you're going to lay down 1 sheet of nori and then put a thin layer of white rice, lay down another sheet of nori and a thin layer of pink rice, and then you'll put your last sheet of nori before cutting the whole thing into 4 pieces. So this is just what I did. It might just be too much rice because it didn't really fit in the roll. So if you want, you can just do 1 layer, but you can see I have 1 layer of pink and 1 layer of white. All right, now we are just going to roll it. You've got all the ingredients prepped. We're gonna roll it. Oh, I didn't show it, but I also just cut the salmon into strips. Pretty self-explanatory. You start with the 2 cucumbers on the bottom to create the 2 bottom corners. You put 1 near the edge and then 1 like an inch away, and then you angle 2 of the rice sheets on top of those to create a corner in the middle, and that corner you're going to fill with salmon. On top of that, you'll put the tamagoyaki, and then you'll surround the tamagoyaki with 3 more layers of salmon. So that'll be like 4 corners of salmon, and then you'll kind of tent the remainder 2 rice sheets on top, and then put the remaining 2 cucumbers as the corner. As you can see, I kind of put way too much stuff in here, and the nori that I had was too small. I really struggled with this. This was, I don't know if this was success, y'all. It was difficult. I had to unroll it because, yeah, as you can see, the nori is just like disintegrating. I would recommend taking the seeds out of the cucumbers. This will also make the cucumbers smaller, and then perhaps only using 1 layer of rice. The tasty recipe doesn't use 2 layers of rice. I just got ambitious and was like, ooh, I'm gonna make it extra pretty and add 2 colors, and then it didn't fit. So yeah, but here I am. I'm redoing this. Struggling. I'm just gonna try to attach another piece of seaweed right here. Some water. I don't know if that's gonna work. This is a huge sushi roll. This is ridiculous. Oh my god. I am struggling here. What? Alright, so it was kind of hard to get it to stay in a square shape, so I left it in the roller for a couple minutes. Bad idea. Don't do that because your cucumber will soak through the rice. Yeah, my rolling skills were not good enough for this, to be honest. But that is as good as we're gonna get. So moving on. To cut the sushi, you're gonna want to wet your knife. I wet and wiped my knife with a wet paper towel between each of the cuts. This just helps it not stick to the nori and the rice, and like the dirtier your knife gets, the more it sticks and kind of compromise the integrity of the roll, the remaining integrity that my roll has. But yeah, it turned out really pretty. It was very difficult to cut, and I kind of was bandaging it throughout the process. You can see little pieces of nori are coming off, especially around where the cucumbers are touching it. So I just ripped off little strips of nori and bandaged it up. In the end, it looked fine, like okay. Definitely not as good as it looked in the tasty video, but still Instagram worthy. Besides the fact that this was partially a failure, I really liked the way that it turned out. The different colors are very unique to sushi, and it's kind of like simplistic and still really pretty. It's definitely something fitting for an aesthetic meal or kind of a fun activity to do with a friend or on a date night or whatever. But I most likely will not be doing this again for my own eating purposes because it is a pain in the ass. Straight up. And it tastes the same whether it's pretty or not. So yeah, but it was fun to do it once. I would recommend trying it once. Let me know if you do, and let me know if you ever want to try it again. Or you also think it's a pain in the ass. Ooh, yeah, so pretty. Who is she? She's Mosaic Sushi. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on. It's all ready. I'm gonna take the soy sauce off so I can show y'all the sushi like this. Ooh, it is so pretty. It is honestly just beautiful, and I love looking at it. And now I'm gonna attempt to eat it. So it's not very sturdy. Let's see. Let's see if I can pick it up. Which piece looks the most sturdy? None of them! Oh, okay. Ooh, look at that. Yeah. Okay. Destroy my little wasabi heart. I feel like I should just eat this all in one bite, or else it's just gonna... that's not possible. I mean, it's really difficult to eat. But yeah, tastes good. Tastes like sushi. I like having the egg cake in there. I love egg cake. It's a heart. It's so cute. It's really yummy, and I love having the tamagoyaki in there. It adds like a little bit of sweetness in the middle. Tamagoyaki is my favorite. I would give it a 10 out of 10 for beauty. 2 out of 10 for construction. Does not hold up very well. No, not really. And then a 10 out of 10 for taste. It was delicious. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a like or a comment below. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time on Maya Makes.